Hello and welcome back to the channel. So this video is part of the knife throwing for dummies playlist or series, and this is on instinctive knife throwing, so that will be chapter 3. Yes, I know, I just realized that instinctive knife throwing needs its own chapter, so later on I can keep adding to it as I remember more and more things. Now, in a very simplistic term, instinctive knife throwing is all about adjusting the forward rotational speed of the knife to suit the distance from the target. So the further away we are from the target, the more we have to slow down this forward rotation. Doesn't matter if it's no spin or half spin or one spin, doesn't matter. You have to control and adjust this rotational speed. So it's very simple, yes? Well, no, not really. There are so many little things that needs to be considered or thought about that it is actually makes it quite complex. Unless you are unless you are part of the very few and very talented people who just pick up a knife, throw it, and it sticks, right? Now, also I have to mention there are people who prefer just learning by from doing, and most likely they're not going to watch these videos either. So to be true to the setup, the aim of this playlist is to talk about everything associated with knife throwing. These explanatory videos needs to happen. So in this video I would like to talk about some terminology and some learning path and why I am using certain terms instead of others. Oh, it sounds very complex, but yes, it is. In my head it's very complex, so I'm gonna start right in the middle. Okay, now first thing first, there is, in soon as you start doing instinctive knife throwing, there is no right or wrong way. Okay, but there are certain principles you have to follow, and that's it. Now I'm going to use no spin throwing as the explanatory method. Okay, not half spin, not instinctive half spin or the others. Okay, so in no spin knife throwing, you start close to the target, and you learn and you get your stick rate somewhere reasonable. What I class a good stick rate is about 7 out of 10 throw is a stick. Okay, now when you're thinking about stick rate, you're thinking about hitting the target anywhere. If it sticks in the target anywhere, it's a good stick. Okay, now a target, there are different regulations, but let's say that a target is not bigger than a meter by a meter, so it's 3 point something foot by 3 point something foot, right? But it can be a whole wall. Doesn't matter if it sticks. It's a throw. Okay, it's a good stick. Now, so start close and you start slowly developing, slowly moving back. Keep on with no spin throwing, right? Now, of course, there are two ways to do this. One is using meter line, but that could be the meterage, could be also imperials, can be feet, because it doesn't matter as long as you measure your progress. Or actually, it's the other way around. These distance markers will help you measure your progress, and for some people it is easier to get to a certain line, for example 2 meter, and register that way. Oh, this one is a bit underspun, under, I need to allow a little bit more forward rotation. Or this one over, I need to reduce it, that kind of thing. Some people not going to use meter or distance markers. They're just going to start somewhere and keep stepping back. Both of them is a good method to learn or to progress. for me, the first one is easier because it helps to associate my brain, helps my brain to associate with a certain distance exactly how much finger pressure I put on. I'm going to talk about finger pressure in the next video. Now, and as you get better and better and better, somewhere along the line you get to a 5-6 meter, which means a 6 meter is an amateur category in knife throwing competitions, because in knife throwing competitions there is a special or a one event which is called no spin knife throwing, but that no spin knife throwing is done from a set meterages. So I think the amateur is going from 2 meter to 6 meter, and pro is going from 3 to 7 or something like that. Each competition will have its own set of rules. Okay, now in that side or in that way, you're still a no spin knife thrower because instinctive is not working yet, but you're still using distance markers. Then your stick rate gets better and you get beyond 7 meter or 7 meter and beyond. Now, if you get 7 meter and beyond with a better than 70% stick rate, you are in a very top knife, no spin knife throwers, okay, worldwide. Then, as you keep doing this path or keep walking or managing this path, somewhere along the line you start varying. You're only gonna stand on one distance for one throw and then you move to another distance. Now that is the first step, being an instinctive knife thrower, because you can't adjust from the same distance. You're not adjusting the next knife, you are actually changing distances. Okay, and then somewhere on the line you're going to lose the distance markers altogether. You're going to only have the distance markers for competition practice, and then you become an instinctive no spin knife thrower. Now, within this progression, you will start playing with instinctive half spin or military half spin or instinctive full spin. And once you can do within your ability, you pick any distance from the target, a unknown distance because you're not actually standing on a marker, and you pick your half spin, no spin, one full spin, and you deliver it, and you make 10 different distances, and you get 70% or more. Now you're a completely instinctive knife thrower. And yes, there are people who can do this, okay, but it's not an easy task to achieve. Very important to remember that these pathways are not set. So knife throwing is not a traditional Japanese martial art where you have to achieve a certain belt level before you can learn something new. And I actually would say, soon as you pass the beginner stage, in my opinion, it's better to start playing with each and every different path. I mean, not within one session, but to experiment with something else and then go back to it and have a little breaks. But I'm going to talk about this during the how to train, how to put your sessions together videos. Now, so you don't have to get to the end of one of the path before you switch to the other. I think you should be playing with everything, because instinctive knife throwing is a beautiful big pot of mixture, right? And there is no right way or wrong way to achieve, I should say, the management or the control of the forward rotational speed or the change of forward rotational speed. That's the key. Okay, now Why is it so important? No, not really. It's actually not really important. But I like to say, I am a no spin knife thrower. Okay, I haven't achieved instinctive status in my opinion. Okay, but I am working on it. So if you are a knife thrower who set out to achieve that, you can call yourself an instinctive no spin knife thrower in training or whatever. There is no right or wrong. You can call yourself whatever you want. But these are my terms, these are my terminology, right? Now, the reason I'm using them is they helping me to judge, or actually helping me set a certain goal and evaluate where I am within that, achieving that particular goal. Okay, set and almost measurable goals are important to me, may not be important to other people. So do not take it as like, oh yeah, he said it has to be this way. No, it's not. That's the whole beauty of instinctive knife throwing. Another reason, if you're listening to these videos, hopefully you realize that there are Facebook groups. One of the biggest instinctive knife throwing Facebook group is called Instinctive Knife Throwers. Okay. Now, every so often people come up and say, well, since you guys are just throwing from meter lines, you are not really instinctive. And I mean, these people are usually newbies or new throwers, or throwers who haven't been associated into the community or with the community, and they just come in, they have their own ideas. And usually they disappear really fast because they can't comprehend or don't want to the training process or the progression process. Because as I said, very few people actually picked up a knife and became an instinctive knife thrower straight away. There is a learning curve. That the true thing is the learning curve is different for everybody, but there is a learning curve. Okay, and I will explain mine, or what I think it is, or I just did, kind of. Okay, so you need the meter lines at the beginning because that helps some people, like it helps me. So talking down on those who actually stay using meter lines, that's not really a good thing, because there are people, or actually at least one person, who is working on become a very accurate no spin knife thrower from about 3 meters. Okay, and he's putting in a fair bit of effort into that. So there's nothing wrong with it. While he's also working on staying instinctive, and he's actually won fair bit of competitions. So it's not like me who's just talking out of my garage and making up my ideas. He's actually can back it up fully, what he's saying or what he's doing. He's actually not saying much, but there's nothing wrong with that either. Instinctive knife throwing, you choose. You are the driver. You are the one who set it up, who figure out your own goals and your own pathway how to get there. I may give you some ideas, but you have to figure it out for yourself or follow somebody else. But don't go like, oh, so if I'm doing this, that means they must be wrong. No, they're right too, because there's nothing set in stone. The whole beauty of it. Okay, I know this video doesn't really make sense, or may not make sense fully, but hopefully by the end of the chapter it kind of pulls it all together. Because next I'm going to do a video in style versus no style and index finger control, and then you'll see what I'm talking about being very, very personal. Awesome. Thanks for listening, and see you back here soon.